are your bearded brothers. We are once again back with yet another sports podcast. Holy God, it's been a week. It has been a week. Not only is the trade deadline passed, we have feelings about that. We'll get to that. It's been a week. If you were a quarterback, this was a bad week for you.
You probably got hurt.
You probably got hurt.
Because I'm pretty sure about almost half the quarterbacks in the league got injured almost.
There are a bunch of people that got hurt. Yeah, there are a bunch of quarterbacks.
Because there was a couple that weren't even starting, and then there was a bunch that got injured while playing. So it's like, jeez.
And then some that may have lost their starting jobs to their rookie backups who made them look stupid.
Well, maybe.
I mean, come on, the mailman.
I said maybe. We gotta wait and see.
Yeah,
but yeah,
true.
The first game looked good.
Yeah, it did. It did.
It's one game.
It's one game. He has to play Pittsburgh this week.
Yep.
but it's Pittsburgh. It was good. It is Pittsburgh minus Minkah Fitzpatrick. So maybe we should start there. Injuries. Let's talk injuries.
Hold on, I gotta go on my phone because it's gonna be a while.
I've been through this already. All right, so Minkah Fitzpatrick injured his hamstring, and he will not play next week. Out. Darren Waller injured his hamstring in the game, did not return, questionable for next week.
Oh, that one hurt.
Yeah, that hurt your fantasy team, didn't it?
That one really hurt.
Drake London. Not only did he try to break his neck last week, this week he pulled his groin. Did not return to the game.
I'm sorry, I can never get over the fact that injury is hilarious sounding to me. I pulled my groin!
If you've ever pulled a groin, it really hurts.
I haven't. I've pulled muscles near the groin, so I know it's not fun, but I don't think I've ever pulled my groin.
Alrighty. Now, we've got we actually have 3 out for seasons, but I'll save the quarterbacks for next. But 2 out for seasons. Grady Jarrett, the defensive tackle, defensive end, for the Falcons, tore his ACL and will be done for the season. They did pick up a defensive tackle from the Eagles, Kendrick Street. I didn't put that down in my deals because I don't know who that is, and I don't know that that's that big of a deal. It feels like we need a defensive tackle here, let's plug him in. Also, unfortunately for Mac Jones, his favorite target, Kendrick Bourne, blew his ACL and is gone for the season.
Yep.
Good luck to you. We hope to see you back next year. Now, for the quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor injured his ribs early in the game, got replaced by an undrafted free agent rookie, and allowed the Giants to have -9 passing yards in a game. Had they not showed up to that game, they'd have left with more passing yards than they wound up leaving with. Kenny Pickett left the game with a rib injury. He is currently a game-time decision, although there is no structural damage, and Pickett himself has said that he's going to play. I still think the coaches have something to say about that, but Pickett sounds adamant he wants to play. Matthew Stafford banged his thumb twice on his throwing hand off of helmets, and the second time couldn't barely grip the football anymore. They're calling it a sprained ligament.
Oh, yeah. If you watched it, it looked bad.
It
looked bad.
They're calling him currently day-to-day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Because something from my understanding, is it's more about the fact that he just doesn't have feeling in that thumb at all anymore. And so day-to-day is, I don't know when the feeling is going to come back. Hopefully it eventually does.
Yeah, and hopefully it's also about, can you grip the football with it? And if not...
Well, if you can't feel it, you can't really grip it. You
exactly.
See what I'm saying? So either he has to adjust to getting used to not being able to feel it and throw, or until at least some feeling comes back.
And then the one that made me sad, Kirk Cousins blows out his Achilles, done for the season.
Probably.
More than likely, even if we make the playoffs, I still don't know that he's going to be able to come back for that.
Normally I would agree, but we've seen how quick Rodgers has been able to make a turnaround on that, so if he goes to the same doctor and tries to go through the same procedure, it's possible it'll still be quicker than what people expect. But you're right. You got to remember Rogers is like 6 weeks ahead of schedule in comparison to Cousins at the moment, and he's still slated to barely be able to come back by the end of the season. So
Yeah, yeah. And now
you're
I
right.
will
He
say
probably
that
won't be
there
back,
are,
but I'm
there
just
are,
saying caveat that technically we don't know. But
yeah.
yeah.
Now there are stories that Rogers has reached out to Kirk and offered him advice
yeah.
on how to rehab it, which you
Which
know what?
makes sense.
Love that.
They're
Love that.
well. On top of that, you got to remember that they're like at the end of the day, even though they're competitors, they're still human beings. They're still people that have. So of course he's gonna like, hey, I just had that problem. Let me tell you what I've gone through, and let me help you with what I've gone through, just to give you an update on what's going on.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
good people shit to just do in general.
100%.
Like even if it wasn't Rogers that reached out, I would assume Cousins would have reached out and been like, hey Rogers, are you willing to talk to me about this? Like, I assumed something like that was going to happen. If it didn't, I would have been more shocked actually.
So, those are the major injuries. And then we'll get to the games because there were a couple of quarterbacks who didn't start, and their replacements balled out. And there were some very shocking results this week. There was a game where I was like, oh my god, how did that happen? And it turns out that somebody may have had the flu. And I was like, yeah, Michael Jordan had the flu and dropped 50 points in a game. You're weak.
To be fair, not everyone can play better with the flu. Like
I
Michael
understand.
Jordan not everyone is Michael Jordan.
So let's talk trade deadline first, and then we'll get into the games.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we got to. It's important.
I don't wanna.
I don't want to either. We'll save the bad stuff for last. How about that?
I'm also gonna have to rip apart this reporter that also gave grades for the trades, and I'm gonna rip the shit out of his asshole.
Oh, is it the one that gave us an A for it?
B+, but yeah. Yeah.
It's because it's low risk. That's the only thing people
that's
are
the only
looking
reason.
at.
But that's not how you give grades. I hate that shit.
I hate that crap too. All right. So we'll start. The Giants traded away Leonard Williams to the Seahawks for both a 2024 second and a 2025 fifth. This is a hell of a risk for the Seahawks. I feel like they may have slightly overpaid. But if it works out, the Seahawks really do need somebody who can get in there and rush the passer. Leonard Williams is good at that. He definitely helps secure the defensive line. I think it's a good play for them. I think it's a better play for the Giants, whose season is in a tailspin, and getting rid of somebody who's probably not coming back next year anyway, because he's on the last year of his deal. I'd make a guess that this is a really good deal for them to get the second and then a fifth next year out of this.
Probably.
The Commanders, as expected. Commanders trade Montez Sweat to the Bears for a 2024 round 2.
I don't think that's too bad.
No, it's not.
Not great for the Bears, I think, actually. I think the Bears might have slightly overpaid. But
I think the Bears might have slightly overpaid, but it definitely helps the Bears, too, in what they're building.
Exactly.
It's not going to help them too much this season, and I do believe he's done at the end of this season, but the Bears have cap room, so
yeah, they do.
Re-signing him would be easy.
I think it was, I forget who said it. I heard it on Rich Eisen's show. I'm trying to remember who said it, but he had a reporter on, I think, and he said it doesn't really matter what the Bears do, because the Bears are 10 men away from being 10 men away. So there you go.
Well, and they did not trade Jalen Johnson today, although they did give him permission to seek a trade, and there was interest reportedly from both the Bills and the Niners, but the Bills would wind up filling their need elsewhere. And the Niners would trade for an entirely different need, which wasn't really a need, but now is a surplus.
True.
Let's talk about that. The Commanders, not only do they trade Montez Sweat, the Commanders trade Chase Young to the San Francisco 49ers for a 2024 third-round pick. That's it.
Which, by the way, that seems more like a steal than anything else to me.
Oh, that's a steal for the Niners. They absolutely...
I don't know how the hell they keep getting away with shit like that.
Personally, I'd have flipped the Sweat, should have been a third, and Young should have been a second.
Yeah,
that would have made more sense. But getting giving up only a third for somebody like Chase Young, and now you pair him with Nick Bosa. How do you block that?
Hope that Chase Young is injured because he seems to have that problem.
That's about the only option you have.
And that's the only reason I imagine that he got away from being a third is just the fact that he just hasn't played
Yeah, I
as
would
many games as he
imagine that
probably
the
should.
reason they couldn't command a higher price for him is because he's had an injury history.
Yeah.
All right. The Cleveland Browns trade Donovan Peoples-Jones to the Lions for a 2025 sixth-round pick. I think it's a great deal for the Lions.
That's a huge deal for the Lions.
That's a huge deal for the Lions. Peoples-Jones is a
Peoples-Jones
good receiver.
Actually, pretty underrated.
Yeah, he's very underrated. I like him a lot as a receiver. And
they needed another third guy they could depend on, and I think that's a good.
Yeah,
good
real. Well, I mean, what's his name? Josh Robinson isn't horrible. He's been pretty good recently.
But I just think this is another good third guy.
Yeah, and Jamison Williams is good, but he's always had. He'll make a big play, but he'll also drop a lot of balls. So Donovan Peoples-Jones is the guy that you can trust on to just catch the short balls along with Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's a short ball guy. He's a good hands guy, and that's what you're really looking for. And then, as we mentioned, the Bills would trade with the Packers. The Packers trade away Rasul Douglas and a 2024 fifth-round pick to the Bills for a 2024, or it's a 2025 third? Fourth third? Something like that. Fifth. They traded to the Bills for a 2024 third from the Bills.
Interesting choice, Packers.
Interesting choice, Packers. Great grab, Bills. Good job.
Yeah, it's good for the Bills.
That's really good for the Bills. That really helps their secondary.
Like, did the Packers just decide to bend over? Because that's kind of what it feels like they did.
I mean, they got a third for him. His salary was about to shake like a big jump.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. It just feels like they kind of just let it kind of go. They didn't really negotiate very well, it seems like. I don't know.
Now, Payne.
Ah, yes.
We'll start with the easy one first.
Okay.
The Vikings trade away guard Ezra Cleveland to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a sixth-round pick. I didn't catch the year. It wasn't ever published, as far as I can see.
I think it's next year, if I remember.
I think it's a 2024 sixth, yes.
Was he starting for us? I forget.
No.
I don't think so, right?
He was not. So, I believe Dalton Risner had taken his spot.
Yeah. So, fine, whatever. Not a big deal.
Yeah. I'm kind of.
I mean, depth. It's kind of nice to have the depth, but at the same time, given what happens, I can understand why they were like, let's get another six-pack, please.
Before that would happen, though, the Cardinals trade quarterback Josh Dobbs and a 2024 conditional seventh-round pick to the Vikings for a 2024 sixth-round pick.
Yeah.
Given what happened to Kirk, we needed a QB.
That's not really what I was hoping for.
I'm more curious now because I can see this from two directions, and this is
I'm so concerned though, and I'll tell you why once you're done.
I'm very concerned as well, but the reason why I'm seeing this from two directions. Either he wasn't on the Vikings' radar right away, and because we know Kyler Murray's getting ready to come back, and we also know that they kind of want to see what they have in Clayton Tune. So Dobbs is going to be the odd man out now. That just feels logical. So benching Dobbs and starting Tune while you're waiting for Murray to come back makes sense. The Vikings may have heard about that and then today asked about Dobbs' availability. The other option...
Unlikely.
Based
on what we've heard, that sounds unlikely.
But that's not totally out of the world. However, if you connect enough dots, which sadly we're really good at doing, and it is a little conspiracy theory, and I wish I had a little tinfoil hat I could put on. We heard about Dobbs being benched not long after we found out that Cousins had blown his ACL and it was confirmed by MRI, which means it's entirely possible that the moment they knew he had a blown ACL off the MRI, the first thing they did was pick up the phone and call Arizona and ask about Dobbs. And then that led to Arizona benching him, saying that they had benched him, and we're going to start Clayton Tune. Um, that whole sequence of events is really muddled to me.
It's hard not to make that connection.
It's very hard. And the problem is, if that's what they immediately did, I'm upset because I feel like you should have called about other quarterbacks first. Like, call the Ravens and ask about Huntley. Call and ask about, as much as I dislike the dude and he's a little injured right now, call and ask about Tannehill. Call Dallas, see if they would be willing to give up Lance. I don't think they will.
Call the Texans and see if
Davis Mills is available. Call the Raiders and see if they'd be willing to give up Jimmy G and just start Aiden O'Connell for the rest of the year.
Heck, see if they'll give us Aiden O'Connell instead.
See if they give us Aiden O'Connell. Call the Broncos and see if they give us Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah. I mean, there's just...
Grab Colt. If you're just looking for a backup, sign Colt McCoy off the free agency wire.
Yeah. There was plenty of other options, and it feels like... To be blunt, this felt like a panic we need buy now. And this is the cheapest thing we can buy now to slot in now.
That's
and I don't like that. And I don't like that feeling.
You don't have to like it, but I can see it from the Vikings' viewpoint because here's what we've got.
Okay, I want to point out why this is a problem though, and why it's a huge problem, and from multiple angles how you look at this, right? There's only one good outcome from this at all. And that's if we basically win no more of our games and we get a high draft pick. Because here's what happens, right? If we all of a sudden start winning a lot of games, make playoffs, whatever, right? And all of a sudden, okay, your draft stock goes down, but you've got Dobbs and Hall, and you don't have anybody else at quarterback. Now what do you do next year, right? Are you going to keep Dobbs? You can't get a draft. What are you going to do? And then even if you go middle of the road, which is almost just as bad, if not worse, you don't make playoffs, but you have a middling record, and now you're still stuck in the same. We have Dobbs and Hall, but neither one of them's the starter, but we don't have a high enough draft pick. Now what do? Those are the three options. The best option is literally to die, basically. Because Dobbs is not going to be your future QB for next year, and neither is Hall, unless Hall all of a sudden ends up balling out, and then maybe you have Hall, but that's the secret 1% sauce pick that doesn't happen.
The Purdy idea, yeah. And here's the thing.
So that's why I have a problem with this, because, listen, I know you and I have problems with Kyler Murray, or I mean, maybe Davis Mills is maybe the better option as a point out, but, like, at least if you pick up one of them, you're going, this is the guy we're probably going to be using for the future. This is the guy we might believe in, right? Especially if you went for Kyler, because then it's like, that's very clearly... Yeah, you're going all in with that, right? Even if you and I don't agree, but doing this is like half-heartedly going, we kind of want to save the season, but fuck the future, and that's horrible GMing if that's what they did.
Now, I will point out that there is the option that Hall winds up being really good. There's also the option that Dobbs and Hall are both shit, and we just tank out the season, which honestly that would feel the best to me, but. I will also point out that this is one of those quarterback classes, this is one of those drafts where there is a dearth of talent at quarterback, and there are going to be guys that slip into the late first round, second round, that normally would be taken in the higher first round.
Maybe. I don't know how much we can actually say that 100%, though. Especially if guys that might actually have the talent we need. We just don't know 100%. We just don't yet.
That's true. But I mean, like, I will point out...
the only other option I can think of is if they are just trying to get through the season, and then the offseason they're going to try to make a bid for Kyler or some shit. Like,
if Kyler is available, or see what other quarterbacks come available in free agency, or the other option is at the end of it, you still have Hunter a little bit, so you try to package whatever pick you get along with Hunter to move up high enough to grab a quarterback.
You know what? I think I just figured out the best way to explain how I feel about this. It feels like they're just kicking the can down the road. We don't want to deal with this problem right now. We'll deal with it in the future. Boop.
It feels like
I don't like that.
It feels like we're dealing with Congress.
Kick it down the road. We'll deal with it later. Kick it down the road. We'll deal with it later. I don't like it
because
it's not good GMing.
It's a stopgap. The funny part is, I'll guarantee you, somebody in that war room said it's only a stopgap measure. There is
100%.
there is nothing more permanent than a stopgap measure.
Exactly. This is, in my opinion, that is really bad GMing if you're not thinking
And
about
I'm
the
willing
future
to
when you make
bet
a
that
move.
when they started signing Cousins to those little extensions, they were stopgap measures.
Oh, they were stopgap measures, 100%. We don't have a QB for now. We need another one for next year.
Stopgap. Let's just extend
Stopgap.
Cousins.
Stopgap. Like, unless that's the play, is that they're just gonna give Cousins another fucking contract off season, but he's a free agent, so I guess they'd have to try to bid for him. Like, fuck off, guys. You guys, it's either ownership or GM. I don't know which one, but one of them is fucking up right now, and it's not good.
I don't know who it is, because the GM is brand new, and I don't know if this is, like, this is really his second season, and I'm willing to wait out and see if he can do something with this, but if this winds up in another muddled mess, I'm kind of done with it.
I was gonna say this is he's made good moves so far, but this is by far the most. This is the one move where I look at it and go, this just doesn't make very much sense at all. Like, it barely makes sense, and even if you try to wrap your head around it, it's still like grasping at straws. Like,
Yeah.
This is honestly probably his worst move I've ever seen, unless Josh Dobbs somehow becomes the next best fucking player ever. Like,
And I don't think so. Here's the problem.
Smokey, you loud bastard.
Here's the problem. I don't think Dobbs is that bad. That's the problem.
No,
I don't think he's bad enough for us to tank, and I don't think he's good enough to make us to the playoffs.
No. I think we're going to be a middle of the road team still, and then going in the off season, crossing our arms, going, what the fuck are we doing now?
I think we're gonna go like seven and whatever it is, or 8 and whatever it is, 8 and 9, 8 and 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go like 8
Something
and
like that.
9,
7
like,
and 10, something like that.
7 and 10, something like that, and it's just gonna be okay. We have the 13th or 14th or 15th overall pick.
Like, the only thing you do at that point is try to flip up if maybe somebody
Yeah,
above
and that's
you
what I was
doesn't need it.
saying. Maybe you flip that and Daniel Hunter and try to get up into the top 5 to grab a quarterback.
If that's the play, then why the fuck did you even pay to get Dobbs? Like, to me, this is a move where they just didn't see more than 5 feet in front of them. That's what it feels like.
Exactly. I think so I feel as though had Cousins gotten injured like week 5, we'd have probably made a better move. Because we'd have had more time to find and pull the trigger. We'd have probably brought up Mannion to do backup duties.
Yeah.
And we'd have had more time to analyze and figure out what we wanted to do. We'd have probably had a couple of weeks where we could see Hall. And by now, we'd have been able to draw a target on everything and go, okay, here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Cousins got hurt at the end of week 7.
Yeah.
And literally right before the trade deadline today. The end of week 8 here. I mean, pardon.
We get, yeah.
Literally had 2 days to figure out what you're going to do. And they panicked and ran right into a wall.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem.
I agree. I don't disagree with you, but I don't know.
Oh, and by the way, whatever reporter gave this a B+ because it's a no-risk maneuver.
Low risk, yeah.
Please consume thyself a satchel of Richards.
Like, yeah, because if you give a grade like that just based on like, oh, it's a good move because it's low risk, it's like, that's not. You should be grading it like, how is the team going to perform with that player? If the team's still not going to be very good, then it wasn't a very great move, was it? Like, to me, this is the epitome of a C move. Like, not horrible, not good. Like,
could have done better. I think it's an A move for the Cardinals because you managed to get, you got Dobbs for nothing, and then you got a 6th for him.
Yeah, they literally got him for nothing.
Exactly. Okay. Oh. Pain.
Yep.
Alright, let's talk about week 8. Because you beat me again.
It happens. I don't feel good about it, though.
I don't blame you. All right. First game on the list, Bucks at Bills. I picked the Bucks. You picked the Bills. The Bills win 24-18. Although that was a very close game, and Baker looked a lot better than what people would think.
Yeah.
So, I will say that was a very good game, and it showed that Baker can hang with a good team.
Yeah, most of the time, anyways. Like that's the problem with that I have with Baker is like he's not consistent enough yet. He's getting better this year. Let's see if he continues that, but he's had consistency issues.
Vikings at Packers. We both picked the Vikings. We were both correct. They beat the Packers 24-10. Oh my God, the Packers looked dismal in the first half. Like, they didn't have a first down until the end of the second quarter, right before halftime.
I think if there's anything that you and I can say is at least we're not the Packers right now.
Or the Bears.
Because they're both, like, both of them are struggling hardcore right now.
Yeah. Although I wouldn't mind Tyson Bagent. He didn't look great this week, but...
No, that's why I was going to say I want to see one more week of him, because then maybe we can get a better consensus of what he's actually going to be.
But, as we both noted, this was kind of a sad game, because at the end of it, Kirko blew out his Achilles.
Literally, it was like in the fourth quarter, too. It's like, God damn.
Like, you couldn't have blown this out at the beginning of the game?
No, we probably would have lost then.
I don't think so. The way the Packers were playing, we'd have beat them on defense alone.
Maybe, because I was going to say Jaron Hall didn't move the ball, like, at all.
And Jordan Love didn't move the ball hardly at all.
No, neither one. Really.
Oh, my God, though. But you know what? I will say that...
Also, the fourth and out was just hilarious at the end of the game.
Their receiving core is not doing him any favors. He had a pass in there. He had a pass in there to Aaron Jones, who's supposed to be the guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. Yeah. The ball went right through his hands and hit him in the face mask.
I saw that, yeah.
It's like, he couldn't throw a more catchable ball. What is wrong with you?
Yep.
Yeah.
To be fair, yeah, we have seen some... Lately, their receivers have been having weird issues catching the ball. Granted, not entirely all their fault, but there definitely sometimes are, so...
Oh, yeah. I mean, Cousins went 23 of 31 for 274 and 2 touchdowns. Jordan Love, 24 of 41 for 229, a touchdown and a pick. Doesn't help that Jordan Love was their top rusher with 34 yards. Alexander Madison. Okay, this is the other thing that really worries me about the Vikings.
Yeah, we don't have a run game.
Not at all, because we were playing one of the worst running defenses in football. Oh, yeah. And Madison could only manage 31 yards on 16 carries.
Yeah, pretty abysmal.
Yeah, it was bad. All right, Patriots, Dolphins. We both picked the Dolphins. We were both correct. They do beat the Patriots 31-17. Mac Jones, 19 of 29, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Tua, 30 of 45 for 324, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Stevenson, 10 carries, 39 yards. Mostert, 13 carries, 46 yards and a touchdown. Kendrick Bourne, 3 catches, 36 yards, a touchdown, and a blown ACL. Jalen Waddle, 7 catches.
Here, have a blown ACL. Enjoy.
7 catches, 121 yards, and a touchdown. Good job, Waddle. Out of curiosity, I just want to look. Tyreek Hill, 8 for 112 and a touchdown. Those two guys are a fucking cheat code.
Pretty much.
But yeah, we both picked the Dolphins to win, and of course the Dolphins squished the Patriots.
Oh yeah.
Jets at Giants. We both picked the Jets, and as we mentioned earlier, we were both correct as the Giants managed all of -9 passing yards. I've never.
I still love seeing. I love seeing the whole Tom Grassi did with the NFL scripted. Giants, we get a win. No, you get -9 passing yards. Oh.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
I don't know how you do that.
I don't either. To this day, I do not understand how they lost 9 yards passing. And despite that, They only lost by 3 points in
They
overtime.
almost won. Yeah, I was gonna say.
If they had won, that would have just been the cherry on top of, like...
You win with -9 passing yards. What?
Zach
Did
Wilson...
they win on the ground game? No, their defense.
Zach Wilson, 17 of 36, 240 yards and a touchdown. Also, 4 carries, 25 yards. To be the leading rusher.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Wilson, 7 catches for 100 yards. Brees Hall had 12 carries for 17 yards. However, he did have a ridiculously long catch. And he caught 6 balls for 76 yards and a touchdown on a long 50-yard reception where he just wove through the entire Giants defense. So, yay. Tyrod Taylor, 4 attempts. He had 4 completions out of 7 attempts for 8 yards. And then he left with a rib injury. Tommy DeVito, 2 completions on 7 attempts for -1 yards. And he took 2 sacks for 9 yards. Yeah. I don't get it. Anyway, Saquon Barkley got really overused in this game as he had to carry the ball 36 times for 128 yards. And as mentioned, yeah, here are the people that caught passes. Darren Waller caught a pass for 4 yards. Matt Breida caught a pass for 4 yards. Saquon Barkley caught 3 passes for 0 yards. And Darius Slayton caught 1 pass for -1 yards.
So dumb, dude. The stat lines for those games are so bad.
Oh my god. So I think we've just seen the worst game ever.
Well, I don't know if it's the worst game ever, but definitely the worst of the season so far.
Oh yeah, by a long shot. Congratulations, 2 New York teams were involved in it, and you deserve to be.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jags at Steelers. Jags at Steelers. I believe we both picked the Jags. We did, and we were both correct. The Jags beat the Steelers 20-10. Kenny Pickett would leave the game with a rib injury. Apparently, the Jags were stealing the fan towels from the Steelers faithful.
Of course.
Trevor Lawrence, 24 of 32 for 292, a touchdown and a pick. Etienne carried 24 times for 79 yards. Ingram had 10 catches for 88. Trubisky, 15 of 27 for 138, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. Warren, 5 carries, 19 yards. Deontay Johnson, 8 receptions for 85 yards. By the way, I started Pickens on the idea that, hey, maybe Pickett will be able to get the ball to him and be good. He had no points until the end of the third quarter when he caught a 22-yard touchdown pass, which was the only points he had for me. But you know what? 22 yards and a touchdown. I'll take it. Could have been worse.
True.
But yes, we both win because we both picked the Jags. Now for a fun game. Falcons at Titans. We both picked the Falcons, and we were both wrong. As the Titans started the mailman, Will Levis. And he would lead the Titans to victory 28-23.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't just lead them to victory. Will Levis, 19 of 29 for 238 yards and 4 touchdowns. Hey, I thought the Titans didn't have anybody that could catch a football.
Well, his name is DeAndre Hopkins.
4 catches, 128 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Why couldn't Tannehill find him?
Because Tannehill doesn't have a cannon on an arm like Will Levis does.
Which is pretty much what this has turned into now.
Also, I just want to point out that I saw a really interesting stat. Will Levis has double the amount of touchdowns that Tannehill has on the entire season.
Yes.
In one game.
In one game. Look, Titans, I think you've got your quarterback of the future, and I think his name is Will Levis, and we'll see
Also,
after this game. Like, it's one game.
On a side note, did we never inquire about Malik Willis? Because I feel like we should have.
We probably should have at this point. Um, Derrick Henry carried 22 times for 101 yards, and Hopkins, 4 catches, 128, 3 touchdowns, as we mentioned. Heineke, 12 of 21 for 175 yards and a touchdown. I think he's your new starter. I think that Desmond...
I actually don't know if they will. I don't necessarily disagree that they should, but from what I've heard, it sounds like they might not.
He should. The Desmond Ritter experiment should be over.
I don't know if I agree necessarily with that either. I think he still has something in the tank there, but I think he's been thrown in too early.
I would start Heineke at least for the rest of the year.
I would probably agree with that.
Bijan Robinson, 11 carries, 62 yards and a touchdown. And Hodge, I don't even know his first name, 3 catches, 75 yards.
I forget his first name, to be honest with you.
Kentavious? Something weird.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Anyway, point is, Titans win 28-23 as Levis throws 4 touchdowns. Which, pretty good. Now for another surprise game. For the next surprise upset of the week, Texans at Panthers.
It was close, to be fair.
It was close. We both picked the Texans. We're both wrong as the Panthers get their first win of the season.
Good job. Yay!
Panthers win 15-13. C.J. Stroud, 16 of 24 for 140 yards. Pierce, 12 carries for 46 yards. Nico Brown, 3 receptions, 57 yards. Bryce Young, 22 of 31, 235, and a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, 15 carries for 28 yards. Adam Thielen, 8 catches, 72 yards. There were 2 touchdowns scored in this game. They were both in the second quarter. Oh, no. 3 touchdowns. There was one by a C.J. Stroud run in the third quarter. And this week, the final field goal came down to the Panthers, who nailed it to win 15-13. Kind of a defensive slugfest of a game. Which was very surprising to me.
A little bit, but at the same time, not super surprising.
Now, another game we disagreed on. Rams at Cowboys. You picked the Rams. I picked the Cowboys.
Oof.
Cowboys win 43-20.
Ooh.
Yeah, this game got out of hand quick.
Yep.
I mean, in just the first quarter alone, the first quarter ended with the Cowboys up 17-13 or 17-3. And it just got worse from there. They went into halftime, Dallas 33, the Rams 9. Yeah. Matt Stafford, 13-22, 162, a touchdown and a pick. Royce Freeman, 9 carries, 44 yards and a touchdown. Henderson Jr., 3 catches, 54 yards. Dak Prescott, 25 of 31, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns and a pick. Pollard, 12 carries, 53 yards. CeeDee Lamb, absolutely ate the Rams. 12 receptions, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Did somebody want to cover him?
Nope.
Apparently not. Apparently
he was
not.
Invisible.
He must have been invisible. That's the only thing I can think of. Now, so I did win that one. Yay me.
Go you.
Another one we disagreed on. Saints at Colts. You picked the Colts. I picked the Saints. The Saints win 38-27.
It was close.
10 points isn't too far off, no. But Carr, 19...
I mean, yeah, I just mean that if you watched the game, it was actually pretty close for a while.
It was, and then the Saints took over.
Just enough, yep.
Carr, 19 of 27, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns. Taysom Hill, 9 carries, 63 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Rashid Shaheed, 3 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown. My man. Gardner Minshew, 23 of 41, 213, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Jonathan Taylor, 12 carries, 95 yards. Downs, 7 catches, 72 yards. I think that Downs is going to be pretty good for them. I can only imagine what's going to happen when they get Richardson back next season and Downs has another year under his belt. That's going to be good. But yeah, Saints do beat the Colts. Now for the one where I was shitting bricks for a little bit. Eagles at Commanders. That game was way more competitive than it had any right to be. Eagles do win. We both picked the Eagles to win. Eagles win 38-31. Hurts throws 4 touchdowns on an injured knee. Jalen Hurts, 29 of 38, 319, 4 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, 16 carries, 57 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown breaks that record. 8 receptions for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has now gone 8 straight games where he's at least 125 yards receiving. That's dumb.
Not surprising, though.
Wasn't this the game where he also had a touchdown in the corner of the end zone that he pulled in with one hand? Or was that the week before?
I think that was this week.
It's like we're talking about that, we're just going, I don't even know anymore. He's got so many plays where you just go, how do you catch that?
He's he's what people would call a creative character playing.
Pretty much. Now Sam Howell, 39 of 52, 397 yards and 4 touchdowns and a pick.
He tried his hardest, goddammit.
Damn, he tried. Robinson Jr., 10 carries, 59 yards. Jahan Dotson, 8 receptions, 108 yards, and a touchdown. Good job. But you ultimately lost. You did what you could.
I want to know where Scary Terry was that game.
Hold on. Let's look at the box scores.
Oh, I already know.
5 for 63 and a touchdown.
I know. He was on my team.
Oh.
I hate to say it, but you expect a little more out of Scary Terry in these big games.
Yeah, but you know what?
Not that he did bad. He did fine.
He did
you just
average,
expect for a
but
wide receiver 1, though, you expect a little more.
Yeah, that's more like wide receiver 2 or flex player.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. Browns at Seahawks. I picked the Browns. You picked the Seahawks. You were correct. Seahawks beat the Browns 24-20. I was a dumbass. Partially because, of course, Deshaun did not play.
Nope.
Watson did not play. P.J. Walker took the start, and he went 15 of 31 for 248 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. Kareem Hunt, 14 carries, 55 yards and a touchdown. Cooper, 6 catches for 89 yards. Geno Smith, 23 of 37, 254, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Walker III, 8 carries for 66 yards, and Lockett, 8 catches for 81 and a touchdown. And JSN gets in the fourth quarter to allow Seattle to win, because up until that point, Cleveland was winning 20-17. A lot of field goals in this game. Jake Bobo also had a 3-yard touchdown run, by the way.
Bobo!
But, yeah. I mean, the problem with Cleveland this week was they only had 1 sack. Can you guess who had it?
Was his name Myles Garrett?
His name was Myles Garrett.
Oh, okay. What is the rest?
So, like, they didn't have anybody else that sacked the quarterback or really put a lot of pressure on them, and that, I think, turned into the problem that they had. And in the end, they just couldn't do enough to stop Geno. And that's what it turned into.
Yep.
Moving right along. Ravens absolutely crushed the dog shit
Can you imagine if Dodgers somehow
Lions.
Geno?
Ravens absolutely crushed the dog shit out of the Lions, not last week, but week before. And this week, we both picked them to win. They won, but they really struggled to beat the Cardinals.
I mean, struggled is a bit of a strong word.
31-24.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call that struggling as much as it was what every team does against the Cardinals. It's the Cardinals. We don't have to try that hard. Oh, shit, they're actually a little better than we thought they were.
Lamar Jackson, 18 of 27, 157 yards and a touchdown. Gus Edwards, 19 carries, 80 yards, 3 touchdowns. Andrews, 4 catches, 40 yards and a touchdown. Dobbs, 25 of 37, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. DeMarcado, 20 carries, 78 yards. And McBride, 10 receptions, 95 yards and a touchdown. Arizona led early in the game off of a 1-yard Josh Dobbs run, but it quickly became all Ravens until the fourth quarter when the Cardinals tried to come back and couldn't quite come all the way back. Moving along, another game that I would not have expected that we got wrong, but we both got it wrong. Chiefs at Broncos. Broncos win.
Wasn't even close.
24-9.
Yeah.
Mahomes, 24 of 38, 241, and 2 picks. Very un-Mahomesian game.
You know, that's what happens when you play with the flu.
Pacheco, 8 carries, 40 yards. Kelsey, 6 catches, 58 yards. Russell Wilson, 12 of 19, 114 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Pedestrian, but you got 3 touchdowns. Williams, 27 carries, 85 yards. Judy, 2 receptions, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Denver moves to 3-5 on the season. Kansas City moves to 6-2. I don't know what else to say about this, except I hope Mahomes gets better, and I hope the next time he feels like ass, he lets his backup play.
I was going to say, next time, maybe the coaching staff would be like, oh, you got the flu? Yeah, you're not playing today, buddy.
Go take a seat.
Ride that pony, boy.
All right, next game was a game we split on. Bengals at Niners. You picked the Bengals. I picked the Niners. You were correct. Bengals win 31-17.
Joe back, boy.
28 of 32, 283 yards, and 3 touchdowns for Joe Cool.
He's
Mixon
back, boy.
goes 16 carries, 87 yards, and a touchdown. And Jamar Chase, 10 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. Purdy, 365 yards on 22 of 31, but he only threw 1 touchdown, and he did throw another 2 picks. Also, when your top rusher is Purdy because he carries 6 times for 57 yards, you have a problem. George Kittle, 9 receptions, 149 yards receiving. There's George Kittle again. Wasn't enough. Did lose to Cincinnati. Also, McCaffrey extended his scoring streak.
Of course.
Still wasn't enough.
No.
Bears at Chargers. We split on this one too. I picked the Bears. You picked the Chargers.
Man, that was a mistake on your part.
Oh, was this ever a mistake on my part? Chargers win 30-13. LA Chargers. Justin Herbert, 31 of 40, 298 yards, 3 touchdowns. Eckler, 15 carries for 29 yards, 7 receptions for 94 yards and a touchdown. Tyson Bagent, 25 of 37 for 232 and 2 picks. Dante Foreman, 9 carries, 34 yards. And Cole Kmet, 10 catches, 79 yards. I would also like to point out that Keenan Allen had 8 catches for 69 yards. Quentin Johnson, hey, look, there he is. 5 catches for 50 yards. Overall, not bad. Could be a lot worse. And then, to wrap it up, Raiders at Lions. No flop this week. We both picked the Lions. The Lions would win 26-14. And this was a coming out game for one player. Jared Goff, 26 of 37, 272, a touchdown and a pick. Jahmyr Gibbs, 26 carries, 152 yards, and a touchdown. And the Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 catches, 108 yards. On the other side, Garoppolo, 10 of 21, 126 and a pick. Jacobs, 15 carries, 61 yards and a touchdown. Also, Jacobs, 2 catches, 27 yards. I think something is wrong in Vegas.
Yeah, and I know who it is. We'll get there.
We'll get there. All right. So, that was what happened last week on week 8. Hit the showers?
I feel like we should probably do our power rankings, game balls, then showers, Inferno.
You want to do power rankings first?
Yeah, since we're following it up from the week, makes sense, right? Naturally follows that, and then game balls immediately after that.
Sure. Power rankings, then. You want to go first?
Why not? So, my rankings is a bit all over the place, and people probably won't like it, but I don't care. It's my rankings, not yours. Shut up. So, sitting at 10, I have the Seattle Seahawks. They finally cracked my top 10. They're just kind of slowly, consistently getting a little bit better every week.
Okay, that's fair. At number 10 for me, I have the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, they're not quite in my top 10 yet.
They cracked my top 10. I think that was impressive. Burrow, I think the stars are aligning. I think Burrow looks good again,
Yeah,
and I think
this looks like the Burrow we expect.
Yeah, this is the time they're on the rise again.
Yep. So number 9 is going to cause a lot of problems, I imagine, and I can only imagine you're going to really hate where I played this. You're going to really think I'm crazy for this, but last couple games have been real rough, and it's a little concerning. And due to how things have gone, you keep dipping, and other teams have been on the rise. And when you're dipping and other teams are on the rise, unfortunately, drastic things sometimes happen. So, sitting at number 9 is the 49ers. They have had a lot of problems recently, and there's been a lot of teams that have not had a lot of problems and have been on the rise. So it's unfortunate, but this is just where they end up getting placed.
My number 9 team is sure to cause a stir as well. And again, sometimes when you slide, you slide. San Francisco 49ers.
Nice. Yeah.
And if you keep losing, you're going to find yourselves out of the top 10.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, what is that 3 games in a row they've lost now?
3 games in a row. And I believe they have a bye this week.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't make it look any better.
Get yourselves right.
Honestly, they could slip out of my top 10 just because of that. Like, not because I
and
want them to, but just because the other teams will look good.
Yeah, and you might just because you have a bye this week. But come back after the bye, get your mind right, and you'll slide right back up.
Exactly. All right, so sitting at 8, I have another team that's kind of... Honestly, this team's probably been hovering around this spot for a while, so it's not really surprising. It is the Buffalo Bills sitting at 8. They did win, but I think there are other teams that just, unfortunately for the Bills, look better than they do. So,
at number 8, I have the Buffalo Bills because they're winning, but there are teams that look better, and I'm not sure what I'm getting from the Bills week to week. So number 8, you go.
Yeah. Okay, I think this is where things are going to have to go off the rails. There's no way we're going to have the same list almost all the way through. So, sitting at 7, I'm finally going for the Lions. The Lions are at 7. I wanted to put them higher, but I just think there are teams that are just a little bit better than them. I'm going to assume that the Lions are 7 on yours as well.
Dude, if this list is beat for beat, I'm going to laugh.
The only team that's been different so far is our 10.
But yes, the Lions are also 7 because you guys were really good, and then you had a down game,
a pretty bad flip.
You won last week against a team you should beat. Let's keep seeing you do that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So sitting at 6. Hold on, I gotta fix my camera since it dropped because I just can't not get over the fact that this is weird. All right, 6. I doubt. God, it can't be the same. I hope not. Sitting at 6, we have another team that's been on the rise. They had a really good game this week. They had a really good game last week. We had the Cowboys.
Do they wear fucking black and purple?
No, but they're the Cowboys.
Okay.
We had the Cowboys at 6.
Okay, no, that makes sense. I can agree with that. They're a little higher up on my list.
And I know the team that you have, and they're also just a little bit higher up on my list.
In this case, Baltimore Ravens are at 6. They've also had a couple of really good games. I feel like the reason they're at 6, though, is they should have hung more on the Cardinals, and I feel like they had a little more trouble with them than they should have. And I get it. It's the Cardinals, and you don't really want to get up for that game, but...
I mean, don't forget the Cowboys had the same problem with the Cardinals.
They did. But the Cowboys have done some really good shit lately. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so sitting at 5, I have a team that has continued to impress me and has continued to just be kind of in the same spot, I think, actually. I think this team has been right around this 4 spot for me for a while now. So we have the guys from Duval, the Jaguars, sitting at 5.
See, and this is where our lists are diverging, because at 5, I have to take into account that somebody, somewhere on a coaching staff should have sat that guy down and said, no. And nobody did. So at 5, I have the Chiefs. You lose to the moribund Broncos. You deserve ignominy. Congratulations.
We'll get there when I get to mine as well. Because they trust me, they
Congratulations, you're 5th.
They slipped, but they didn't slip quite as hard on mine. So for 4, we are back to the boys in purple and black, in the Ravens. I think I had them a little bit higher than you did. I thought they were just really good, and I'm going to imagine this is the spot where you had the Cowboys, so we probably just flopped.
We did, because this is where I put the Cowboys, because I'm really impressed with that smashing victory over what I consider to be a pretty good Rams team. At least better than what we thought they would be coming into the season.
Maybe not so much now, though.
They are falling off a little bit, but
especially losing a QB. I mean, that's gonna.
Yeah, and losing Stafford, but I mean, up until this point, they've actually looked a lot better and they've been in pretty much every game they've played. This was their first total walkover, and that's why I put the Cowboys at 4.
Fair enough. All right, so sitting at 3, I have the Chiefs. Yes, you're right. Someone should have told them to fucking say no. But that's also the reason why I'm not condemning them as hard as you did, because, I mean, he had the flu, though. So, I mean, it's hard to, be completely negative. I know. I'm giving it a 1 game. If there's a second game that's really bad, they're going to drop hard. I always give a slight leeway on the first loss. So we'll see.
Number 3, I have the Miami Dolphins.
That's a little shocking, but all right.
I'm pretty high on these guys right now. I like them a lot. Could have had them at 2, but I'm being an asshole. And I'm not going to allow the Dolphins to be at 2 just yet.
Okay.
They've had some inconsistency issues. They still have some defensive lapses, but I think that'll heal itself when Ramsey comes back. Just kind of where I feel they should be right now.
Okay. I don't necessarily agree, but I understand your point. So for my number 2, I have the Eagles, because frankly, they're barely winning their games still. They're winning, but they should not have been that close in that Commanders game. It should not have been for what this team is supposed to be. Their offense, great. Defense, holy shit, you got problems. I don't know why, but you got problems. And it's just concerning, because it feels like you're not the Eagles of last year, and yet you're still somehow winning games, which is why you're still second. You're still very high up, but I just can't, in good conscience, give you 1 when you're playing like you are. I just can't.
My number 2 team are the boys from Duval. They keep impressing me. They're finding a running game now. Lawrence is finding his stroke. That defense is starting to look better. I'm really impressed with this team right now, and I think they have the goods to probably contend for a top spot in the AFC this year.
Yeah, I agree with that part. They're definitely, I think I could see them being top 4 AFC.
Yep.
And for my number 1, I have the boys from Miami. the Dolphins at my number one because, frankly, how do you stop that offense? It doesn't matter if their defense isn't that great.
Ask
Frankly,
the
their
Bills.
defense
They
is
did
actually
it.
pretty. To be fair, their defense is pretty good normally. Like, yeah, the Bills had a good game, and we've seen how the Bills are on both of our lists is kind of low down. So like, let's not weigh that with a big hammer. All right.
All right,
Like,
I'll wait something with a big
the
hammer for you.
Dolphins. Listen, the Dolphins are one of those things where like that offense is just such stacked and powerhouse that I think they're the team to beat in the AFC outside of the Chiefs, typically.
Well, 2 other teams have already done it.
Yeah. So
Who was it?
just because they've
by the
lost,
way, the Jaguars were the other team to do it.
yeah, just because they've lost doesn't mean anything to me though.
I know. I'm just saying. So to
Because
me,
I think
of
I think they're
course,
the type of team that almost 90% of the time, if their offense is cooking, it's going to be a hard time to beat them. That's all.
of course, you know who my number one overall team is. It's going to be the Eagles. Look, I get everything that you said, but at the end of the day, they're still winning. On top of which, Hurts just threw 4 touchdowns while hurt. That's
and
Michael Jordan.
They still. He wasn't obviously that hurt if he was able to be as mobile as he was. On top of the fact that defense. I'm coming back to the fact that they should be blowing out these people. They shouldn't. Almost all these games that they've played should be so one-sided. It's not funny with how good that offense is, and it's not. And that's the part that I have a problem with. And I think if they come up against a really good AFC team like the Dolphins or the Chiefs or the Ravens, they're gonna have a really bad time.
Actually, I'm more impressed with this team this year than I was last year.
Disagree hard.
And here's
But
why.
that's okay.
Here's why. I actually have a reason for this. Last year, they blew everybody out. Lost in the Super Bowl. This year, they're barely scraping by, but they're still winning. They're showing that they can grit and bear it and determine and just grind it out and win no matter what. That is the attitude and the mentality that wins Super Bowls.
Not until you get your ass handed to you. I'm telling you that close game sounds great and all, until that close game doesn't go your way anymore.
Well,
we
what
know
I'm
what
saying
that's
is,
like. We were Vikings fans.
Yes, but Vikings were winning off of stupid luck. The Eagles are. This isn't stupid luck. This is
that Commanders game. They should have lost. I'm gonna be blunt with you. There was so many times that they should have lost. And let's not forget the week before that, where no penalties were fucking called on them.
You gotta blame the refs for that.
Yeah, but you telling me that isn't luck? Come on.
No, that's just the refs being blatantly biased. In fact, there was they actually had a thing where one of the refs, somebody pointed it out, and I don't remember who it was, and I wanted to bring this up.
Probably Pat McAfee, because I saw him do something about the refs recently.
Yeah, one of the refs in that game grew up like 15 miles from Philadelphia.
Yeah,
and he's already been sanctioned once for bad refereeing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of the guys on that game.
Yeah.
Grew up an Eagles fan, and you did tell me that's not a conflict of interest?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I totally, okay.
I'm just saying that if come playoffs, the Eagles play against a really hard team like the Lions, they might get their teeth kicked in a little harder than they expect, is all I'm saying.
It's possible. I'm not going to say that you're wrong, but by the same token, right now.
Yeah, right now, but I just don't have faith to place them at a number one just because to me, they're not playing like a number one team. That's just me, though.
All right, game balls?
Sure. Do you want to go first or me go first?
If
you let me go first, I'm taking the obvious one.
Go ahead, take the obvious one.
Will Levis, enjoy your first game ball, sir.
He was on my list too. The Broncos. Just the Broncos.
You won a game against the Chiefs. Yeah! It's been 16 games.
I actually have a huge list of players here because I figured you were going to take some of mine.
All right. My second is Joe Burrow. Welcome back, boy. Enjoy your game ball.
Jahmyr Gibbs. Welcome. Breakout game. Game ball.
A guy that, this last one, I just wanted to highlight someone that, we don't normally talk about or bring up very often. And while he didn't have a fantastic game, he had 3 touchdowns. So, Gus Edwards, enjoy a game ball for once.
That's fair. That's fair. Who do I want to give the final game ball to here? You know what? I'm going to give it to somebody that I didn't even list on my list, but when I read his stat line, I was like, oh, he deserves one. So I'm going to throw it out there because I don't know when else I'll be able to give him a game ball. Sam Howell.
Yep.
You damn near won that game, boy.
Probably should have, actually.
4 touchdowns and almost 400 yards passing. My dude.
Mm-hmm.
Game ball.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right. Showers?
Yeah, sure.
Showers.
Me
I'll
or you
start.
first. All right, go ahead.
Patrick Mahomes.
Damn it!
Hit the showers.
Damn you. I know it's only the flu, but come on, Patrick. You should know better than that. All right. Desmond Ridder. Hit the showers, my guy.
That's also fair. The Rams. The whole team hit the showers.
Ramondre Stevenson. You have done shit this entire season. Hit the fucking showers and rethink yourself.
CJ Stroud. Didn't throw an interception, also didn't throw a touchdown. My dude, take some time, go hit the showers, cool off. You'll be okay.
Fair. Alexander Madison. Hit the fucking showers, my guy. You didn't do anything on how many carries again?
16.
Oh, right, 30 yards on six. Oh. Do better.
Dante?
Yeah.
You want to
You
start? You want me to
first, or
start?
I can go first. It's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
So this one's maybe a little unfair, but I think it's still something that should be brought up. So I do have somebody in the first circle. We're just lukewarm, just a little warm. It's not you're not being christened yet. You're not being lambasted. But some people are calling it out and going, "Hey, there has been an unusual circumstance of problems in the last 3 games. So Brock Purdy, you are in the first circle. Get it together. Don't lose yourself. Stop throwing picks. You'll be fine."
Damn it.
Did you actually have him on your list?
Yes. So you know what? I'm going to replace him with Desmond Ridder.
Fair enough.
Go into the first circle. Look, my dude, get it together.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, now we're going back to usual suspects again. Number 2, fifth circle, Bill Belichick. I'm not going to explain why. We already know.
Jordan Love, 6th circle.
Fair enough.
Dude, you are not the future.
Not at this rate anyways, but I think with how long he's been in the league, they have to rethink that shit fast.
I do too.
All right, and for my final one, Josh the Snake McDaniels. Enjoy your 6th circle. How are your Raiders doing, buddy? Is everyone happy? No? Fucking shocking.
I have a fun one for the last one. The QB injury bug. Go to the 10th level and fucking get out of my league.
Screw you, injuries!
God damn. How many QBs did we lose this week?
Way too many. I do also have an honorary mention to my Inferno.
Ooh.
So, you're not in the Infernal yet. You're just tiptoeing around it. Like it's like you're looking down like you want to jump into the pit. So I'm putting the Vikings general management in this spot.
Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah.
We don't quite know how this will pan out, but I'll tell you, this could be the thing that throws you into the Inferno if you ain't careful, buddy. You're playing with fire, and it might burn you.
That's what happens when you play with fire. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Really? Yeah, fire burns, man.
Oh, damn. I feel like you need to let Adolfo Mensa know about that.
Oh, man, I don't think he'd listen.
Probably not.
Alrighty, let's get into next week. Week 9. You ready?
No, because there's so many injuries, I can't even predict who's gonna play.
I mean, we know
some, but
we
there's
know
a lot
some
we don't.
early on here, which is why this won't be as hard as you think it will be.
I'm worried about the later half, to be honest.
Yeah. Titans at Steelers.
Based on how Will Levis played, I'm probably gonna go Titans on that one.
I also feel that. And we don't know if Pickett is
Even
going to play or if he'll be any good if he does.
Yeah.
Vikings at Falcons.
See, this one's just gross because, frankly, we don't know who's gonna play really either team. Because the Falcons could play Ritter, and I've heard that that's the rumor. But I've also heard that people are like, no, they should put in Heineke. So we don't really know yet. As for the Vikings, we know that they've said they're going to start with Hall, but that doesn't mean he's going to play the entire game. So, fuck my life. Just because I'm a Vikings fan, I'm going to choose the Falcons.
I thought you were about to choose the Vikings. I will also take the Falcons because I have lived with the Vikings longer than you, and I absolutely know they're going to shit the bed.
That's why I said I'm a Vikings fan. I understand what's going to happen now.
Okay, you ready for the really hard one of the week?
Yeah, there's probably a couple of them, but sure, go ahead.
Dolphins at Chiefs in Frankfurt, Germany.
Dolphins. I'm not even going to question that one. It's going to be a shootout game, but I'm trusting in the Dolphins in this one.
I'm going to agree with you, but only because I'm not sure Mahomes will be 100% again.
That too. That's where
we
don't know where Mahomes is going to be.
Yeah. Seahawks at Ravens.
Ooh. Seahawks have been up and coming and been looking pretty good, but the Ravens
and they picked up Leonard Williams.
They did, but the Ravens are just a tier above right now, in my opinion. So I think it's going to be the Ravens.
I will agree with you. Cardinals at Browns.
See, now the Cardinals don't even have Josh Jobs to try to see if they can make
things
work. So I'm going Browns on that. I have no faith in the Cardinals with a new QB.
I agree. Clayton Intune. Buccaneers at Texans.
That is a game Texans could win. The Bucs did get a good game up against the Bills, so you could argue that it should be Bucs. I think this is the one where I'm going to take the dark horse, and I am going to go with the Texans in this one. Just to
I'm going to take the Bucs. Yeah, I am. I just have a feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say the Bucs are more favored to win that, but I just have a feeling the Texans might be able to do something special there.
Bears at Saints.
I have zero faith in the Bears at the moment, so it's going Saints.
I will agree with you. Rams at Packers.
Oh, gross. Fuck it. I have faith in Rippin. We're going Rams.
I will agree with you. Not because I have faith in Rippin, but because I have faith that the Rams defense is going to sack the living dog shit out of fucking Jordan Love.
Yeah. On top of that, you have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, who can make a QBs look okay. So yes. I think it'll be fine.
And it'll be fine. Here's the fun one for you. You ready?
Sure. Why not?
Commanders at Patriots.
I mean, to be fair, the Commanders took the Eagles to a pretty big slap fest. So, why not? I don't have faith in the Commanders very much, but I'll go Commanders.
I'll go Patriots just because they don't have the two big defensive ends anymore to put pressure on anything. What are they gonna?
They're just gonna have to outsling it. Sam Howell, we know, can sling the ball, so maybe.
We'll see.
I know Mac Jones can't sling the ball very well right now, so.
Colts at Panthers.
I mean, the Panthers look good, but they didn't look that good, so I'm going Colts.
I'll go Panthers. Why not?
You're gonna regret that one, I feel like.
I feel like I might, but I also feel like I might not.
Yeah, we'll see.
Here's another gross one. You ready?
No.
Giants at Raiders.
We don't even know who's starting for the Giants. We don't even know Darren Waller's coming back. I doubt it.
Well, they have cleared. That was one of the things that they did say. Daniel Jones has been cleared to come back.
Okay. We don't know if... I don't think we know if Waller's coming back yet or not. I think he's still out. That could potentially make the Giants a favorite in that, but only barely. Depending on how Daniel Jones is feeling. It's a bit of a gamble, but I guess I'll jump on the Giants and see what happens.
I'll jump on the Giants, too, because I trust their defense and their coaching more than I trust Josh the Snake McDaniels.
I agreed with that part.
Now for the one that I have no idea how to pick. Cowboys at Eagles.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know how to pick that because I hate both of them.
I dislike both of them, but it has nothing to do with dislike. It has to do with the Eagles have looked kind of vulnerable, and the Cowboys at times have looked strong.
I'm saying that's what makes it even harder. Is that they're both good, and I hate them both.
The other problem is they're both slightly inconsistent, and you never know what team you're going to get.
I'm gonna favor the Eagles on that, just by a hair, though.
I will favor the Cowboys because there's something about those games that always turns into a slugfest.
Yeah.
And the way they've been playing, the Eagles are due to lose.
Oh, they're probably
like
due
that.
for one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Bills at Bengals.
You know what? If Joe B is properly back, this should be a Bengals victory.
I agree. And the last game of the week, Chargers at Jets.
Probably Chargers.
I'll take the Jets.
Ooh. Man, remember last time you bet against the Chargers and I won?
I do, but I think the Jets have a much better defense than the Bears do. And if there's going to be a team that's going to find a way to screw this up, it's going to be the Chargers and Brandon Staley.
I agree they have a better defense, but their offense is really bad, so it doesn't matter if you can't score points, unless you're hoping your defense scores points, and they didn't last week.
We'll see how this goes. But yeah, so that is our picks for next week. I don't have any hot potatoes this week. I didn't do any.
I didn't do any either, I forgot.
I did too, and I didn't do a top 10 for the NHL, so...
Oh.
So
we'll have to do those next week.
I will have to do those next week. So this is where this podcast is going to end. I was a little too busy, unfortunately, trying to follow along with the trade deadline stuff and keep up with that, so...
Legitimately, I wrote all of my stuff like an hour and a half ago. Because I was waiting until the trade deadline to see what was going to happen with the Inferno and shit, so I was like, I don't want to do too much early stuff.
Yeah, and I was in the same boat, and we'll have more stuff next week, but we covered a lot of trade deadline and stuff like that. Chris did beat me this week outright. We'll see if I can make another comeback next week, or if my
gambles...
gambles...
this week compared to last year.
Yeah, you're doing a lot better this year than you did last year.
Last year, didn't matter what I chose. Everything was just going against me last year.
Yeah. This year we're a lot more even, so...
Yeah. Things are working out a lot more even this year.
Well, now that we've got all that out of the way, we hope that everybody out there has had an enjoyable week. We hope that our podcast has brought a little bit of joy to your week, and even if it didn't, F off, you watched us anyway. And if you watched us this long, I don't know what you're doing with your life.
I guess if you're still here, subscribe.
Yeah, if you're still here, subscribe, like, tell us that we're awesome. We love to hear that kind of crap.
I seriously doubt that there's many people who are going to watch this all the way through.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think I'm the only person that puts them on and watches them all the way through just so we can get the playtime. That's kind of sad.
Don't worry. We'll eventually can upgrade our production to where people will start watching us.
Oh, probably. All right, everybody. For those of you out there that have been watching, we wish you a good night. We wish you a great time. Enjoy yourselves out there. We'll see you back here next week. All right? Till then, peace out.
Bye.
Bye.